What's up, everybody? It's Al Mega, your host, Comic Crusaders podcast and the CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. Today, folks, we got a legend with us. You know me, I love Spawn. That is my dude in comics. There is no greater superhero. And this man is the creator of this. He's a founding father of Image. And right now he's been doing crazy stuff. Obviously, the longest running independent comic book. He had $1 million plus Kickstarter, and now he already has the #1 selling comic and Image in the past 25 years. And this bad boy ain't even out yet. It's out this Wednesday. Who am I talking about? It's the one and only Todd Todd McFarlane. What's up, Papa? Woo!
How you doing today? Thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
I am doing great. I am energized, and I hope you are too, because, brother, you have got stuff going on. I got my brother. It's like, wherepa, let's go, Todd. You know, anybody, bro.
The thing is, look at how big my head is compared to yours. So people always said, "Hey, Todd, you got a big ego, right?" And so now we can actually see it right here.
Yeah. All right, let me make it better for you. There you go.
Oh,
we're on an equal tone there.
there we go.
With that, Todd, bro, I know you've been busy today. We rescheduled twice, but I don't care, because anything that happens, you know, I will be patient for the legendary Todd Father. And let me tell you, you've been busy, right? I even did a whole little PowerPoint because I want to show people how busy you've been when it's really come down to it, right? So let's get down to it, brother, because I know you've been busy today, right? So yes, I'm talking to the one and only Todd Father, right? But and everybody, if you comment, you chit chat with us today, guess what? You're up to get this Spawn right there, that blue and black, courtesy of Crisis Toyverse Bible Max. Shout out, right? But let's get into it. 2019, Spawn 301, longest running independent comic book. You did that in 2019, right?
Yeah.
Then come 2020, you got this $1 million plus Kickstarter with an awesome Spawn figure. Of course, I have mine up there. You know, that's my baby. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. We did that. We did that right when the pandemic started. Yeah. So.
Yep. And you killed it. It looked like the New York depth. That depth clock, it just kept running.
Yeah. No, we hit $1 million. I think we hit $1 million in
smash Kickstarter. I love it, right?
Within a day. I think we hit it in less than a day. Or whatever. It was crazy. Ended up at $3.5 million. So.
God, it's fucking internet. 1 second. I have to make sure my camera is just that my internet is. I have to keep the door open, apparently. So with that, right, I'm showing this cover of Spawn 220 because this seems to have been a tease for what you've been planning. Now, this is almost 100 issues ago.
Yep. Yeah. So again,
right?
Everything that I'm about to do has sort of been underneath our nose, sort of all this time. I'm just formalizing it in a way that makes sense. Yep.
I'm sorry, Todd. Apparently, Florida rains is internet issues today. Mother effer. But thank you for just hanging out there. So, sure. 220. Is this really you laying down the seeds, or as the opening of Spawn Universe says, there's been something that's 318 issues ago leading up to?
Here's the thing, Al, is that if you do any title, I don't care what it is, for 320 issues, you're gonna accumulate all these stories and all these characters, and over the lifespan of those 25 years, you're literally going to have hundreds of characters. They're not all going to be great characters. They're not all going to be A+, but they're all going to be, you're going to have this big bucket. Now, I have a choice. I can either make all of those characters keep coming out once a month in the Spawn comic book. And eventually the Spawn comic book becomes a team-up book, right? It's not a book about Spawn because I got to sneak all these other characters in. Or I just figure out a way to be able to give more room to some of these other characters. And the easy solution, given that we've been talking about it off and on literally since the inception of Image, is to just expand the books and give them their own space so that Spawn can go back and do his thing and these other characters can do theirs, and then I'll slowly bring in one-shots and miniseries and new titles and just keep slowly expanding what is, at the beginning here going to be, 4 titles. And the reason for 4 titles is because for a long time I was just doing the 1 book a month. And at the end of, whenever somebody came into a comic store and bought it, it was going to be another 4 weeks, possibly 5, depending on the month, of when you could pick up the next Spawn book. And there's a lot of distractions in the world. And to let your consumer sort of go and cross your fingers and hope they come back a month later, I mean, they've been doing it. But I just thought that, hey, if you like Spawn, I'm going to get it to the point that you can come in and basically once a week, every time you walk in the store, minus the months where there's, 5 ship weeks, but most months there's 4 weeks, that you're going to be able to pick up some Spawn related comic if you want. I'm not saying you have to, but if you like the world of Spawn, then instead of coming in and getting it and then having to wait a month, you can get it like a TV show. You'll be able to get like, oh, I got another one. So,
I love it. Todd, you've been killing me for years doing that monthly joint. And I know that, at least in the early years, you did the Curse of Spawn and Sam and Twitch, which is now obviously an HBO Max show. So that's awesome. Do you have any, let's say, verbal, power in that Sam and Twitch show on HBO Max that's going to be coming? And would that lead us into the Spawn movie?
It's not it's not on HBO Max. We haven't sold it into a studio yet. So I think maybe the people who are helping me produce it, I'll be one of the exec producers on it. They had a show on HBO Max called Mayor of Easttown. And that's maybe where you saw HBO Max. But we just got the first draft of the script by Jason and Todd, and the writing tandem, and they'll, we'll tighten it up a little bit, and then we'll go to the town and we'll say, hey, we got these 2 great writers. Here's their resume. We've got, Todd, guy who did Spawn and Venom. And then we got the producers of Mayor of Easttown. And we all want to get together and we want to produce something called Sam and Twitch. Is anybody interested? Hopefully we can get at least one person say, yeah, it's not a bad combo.
Bro, I don't see why not, man. It's the Todd verse, man. And again, you were laying seeds about the expanded universe, forever. But this one cover really kind of was a tease into the possible future right here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's showing that even 100 issues ago, that there were still all these characters, right? I mean, and I've just been adding to those numbers. So I knew as I was coming close to issue 300, that if there was ever going to be a time that I was going to formally do something about it, instead of talking about it, actually do something about it, then it was going to be plant the seeds at issue 300 and begin the process. And so everything essentially leads back to his big act of, the big explosion at the end of 300, basically the beginning of 301. And it basically puts this rip in time, and it pulls a bunch of people from the past and a bunch of people from the future, and messes with people that are here now, and it puts them all in one spot, and which is today, our modern time. And now let's just see what all of that means when you collide all of those people. And then there was an issue a couple months ago where Spawn was in his regular book was fighting Omega Spawn, and Omega Spawn said, "Dude, you think only Spawn came through that hole? Like you're way off. There was hundreds and hundreds of us that came through that hole. You don't even know what you unleashed." And so it's my way of saying, there it is, get ready. And it may take years and years and years for me to show you even a fraction of those people who came through.
Thank you. My wife will be happy to hear that, to know that I will continue to be spending money at the comic shop. Because Spawn is my business, brother. Yeah. You have no idea. And and just showing, right? These were some of the seeds with that one cover. And here we go, man. This Wednesday, we get the fruits of that labor, of that amazing, one title and all those stuff that was going on. And we finally get this one shot here. I mean, it
now
is
that one's
correct?
Okay. So that one's squished. So put me up on the screen. I'll show them the real deal here.
Okay. Hell
so
yeah.
Put me up. Come on. But like that guy is not doing justice. You can make me bigger. There we go. So there's my advanced copy. There's my yeah, that's too squished. There's my advanced copy right there. So this is there's 6 covers. There's 4 by Scott Campbell, and then there's 1 by Brett Booth that I inked, which is this one, and then there's the one that I did, and so you get the big book, 5.9. This book is as thick and has as many pages as Spawn 300 for $2 less. It's a $5.99 book. This book is going to be the best value in comic books this year. You're going to get like close to 60 pages of artwork and story
60
for $5.
We're getting 64, bro. 64.
Yeah, well, some of them are like page breaks, right? But anyways, it's a 64-page book for $5.99. Right? You're not gonna. There now are 20-page comic books, 32-page comic books that are $5.99. So, just what I'm hoping for is that people who haven't, been that enamored with Spawn or know that he exists, but it's like the issue is too high. There's no good, there's no good time to jump on. Well, now's the time to jump on. And oh, by the way, it's going to be at a reasonable price. All the first issues are going to be $5.99, and then they're all going to go back to $2.99, like all my comic books. I'm the only guy in the marketplace going to be $2.99. So
I know you're the only one. Actually, you truly hold the line, because I know there was a particular line that a company holding the line at $2.99, but no, they didn't. But you really true on that, and as a comic book fan, thank you, man, because that makes it very affordable for me to continue collecting my favorite character ever.
So there's all 6. That's all 6 covers.
God, bro. I'm one of those cats that get all the covers, right? That
was the other thing. That was the other thing. I think we did about 10 of them for $300, and I didn't want to do that. Right? I just said, I thought it was too many covers at $7.99. So I remember we were sitting there in editorial, and I go, how do we keep the price low, and let's keep the number of covers reasonable. And part of it too is because I know in 2 months King Spawn's coming, and then after that Gunslinger and the Scorch. And I didn't want to push my luck, right? I mean, one of the ways to be successful in any business is you try to treat your customer as good as possible. And so if you give them, a lot of value and you give them quality, then usually you can cross your fingers, and a decent amount of them will keep coming back. So you can keep doing it. So that's it. Could I charge $3.99? I guess. Would people buy it? I don't know that $1 is gonna stop or start them, but I don't need the money, and so why not pass it on to the consumer? I mean, a buck's a buck, right? So all things being equal, you got 2 books. You think, Spawn, he's okay, and there's a book over there. Oh, that book's okay, from Marvel or DC. How much? $2.99, $4.99. well, I'll take the $2.99 book. Okay, I'll try it. Right? It's it's a cheaper way to sample something at $2.99. Let me just say that. And to put it in perspective too, Al, 1992, we came out. Spawn was $1.95. Let's call it $1.99.
Yeah.
That was in 1992. 30 years later, I've gone up $1.
$1.
30 years.
Nothing.
30 years, $1. When we broke in at Image, Marvel and DC were $1, just about ready to go to $1.25, and they're now $3.99, $4.99. So if you take a $4.99 book, that means they were at $1 when we started 30 years ago, and they're now $4.99. So they've gone up $4 in 30 years, and I've gone up $1. Right? So they've gone up 400%. They've gone up 400%, and I've gone up 50% because we started at $1.99. So they've gone up 8 times higher in the 30 years than I have with my book.
With more ads at that too, because a part of that page count is ads. Whereas with Spawn, I mean, we're getting a full combo. We're getting a great amount of.
This book is artwork to the very end, and the only thing you get at the very end is me. I put a letter in the back, right? I put a letter in the back. I tell you the king's coming, and then there's an ad, and then that's it. That's it, right? Otherwise, this thing is flush. This is just art with no ads, with no ads.
Oh, the Kit-Kat story. Cool first appearance of a character that's going to kind of change in this series as well, especially in this book. A certain character that we've known in the mythos is going to go through a big change, and what this change does for the future of Spawn, only Todd knows, because he's the mastermind. I mean, give us some insight about that ride leading up into finally the Spawn's universe. And what we're going to get afterward with the Scorched and the King Spawn and Gunslinger, a dope character.
Oh yeah, right. No, he's super cool. So after
look at that.
After the Spawn's universe comes out, 2 months later is King Spawn. So it's every 2 months, right? I didn't want to do it 4 months in a row. I thought that might be a little bit too much. So it's it's every 2 months. So it'd be Spawn's universe. 2 months later, King Spawn. 2 months later, Gunslinger. 2 months later, the Scorch. The King Spawn. It's interesting because people ask me, they go, "Man, is that a new character? Is it a new?" And it's like, no, it's not a new character. If you think of the word King, like in Marvel vernacular, it would be the mighty, the incredible, the amazing, right? They had all the words, right, that were before the name of the characters, right? So I couldn't call him the amazing Spawn because I'd been taken, and I couldn't call him the incredible Spawn. I'd been taken, right? But knowing what is coming down the pipeline, the King I thought was a really appropriate word, not because he's a new character, not because he's a king, but when you think of a king, to me, I think of somebody who should, in the right circumstance, be mature and be, strong and be regal and have no fear of the enemy. Right? That's what a good king does. And so
Conan.
Conan, right, right. And I've said that to people. There's Conan the Barbarian, and that would sort of spawn for the first 250 issues. And it was like, I'll just solve this with a fight. And now, since 250, he's been playing a little bit more chess, right? A little bit more what you saw in like Game of Thrones, where a lot of what was happening in Game of Thrones was just political maneuvering and trying to sort of build allies, right, in a war. Sean Lewis, who's doing a lot of writing, I keep telling him and other writers I'm talking to, think of it as a war, as a book about war. And there's all these factions, right? I don't want it to just be, heaven, hell. There are literally dozens and dozens of factions on Hellside. and dozens on heaven's side, and even a bunch of humans in the middle, and they're all scrumming for their own reasons, right? And sometimes you're going to see that sort of this faction of heaven will go with this faction of hell because it'll serve a purpose for both of them, and both of their agendas will get moved, right? So
That's
why
why I love on Todd, because it rides that fine line of between good. What is good and evil? I mean, here you have heaven hanging out with hell only because of purposes. I mean, is that a good intention? You know what I mean?
No, I've always said, I mean, again, in the Spawn mythos, that heaven and hell are essentially the same mentality, just that one of them has a way better PR firm, right? So you know that because if you look at it, and you would have in my mythology, if you have like God and Satan, then you say, well, what do you want? And they go, I want to destroy my mortal enemy. Both of them want that. Check. What else do you want? Well, I want to have dominion of the universe. Okay. Well, both of them want that. What else do you want? I want the humans on Earth to bend the knee to my will. They both want that, right? And so as you go down the list of what they want, check. It's all the same, right? It's all the same. There's no differentiation, and so that's why I say they're sort of the same side of a two-headed coin. It's just one has a better PR firm. So what you're going to see at times, that there will be stories where, you know, the horror going on is going to be done by a faction from heaven. Why? Because it's war, and they want to win just as badly as the forces of hell does. And
of course,
I've also introduced this in my book, where, unlike sort of what we're taught here, that the way that it works in my book is that the very first human to die ever went to heaven. And then the very next soul, a fraction of a second, the very next soul went down. And the next person to die, up, down, up, down, up, down. And so what's happening with the souls, it literally is every other one, right? Heaven gets every other one, and hell gets every other one, regardless of who they are. Which basically means you can now go into battle for Armageddon, and Satan's going to have like a bunch of bingo ladies from church, really good quilting, and heaven's going to have Genghis Khan, and he's going to have Jack the Ripper. And Satan's going to go, hey, you know what? Those are kind of bad guys. I'll trade you 50 bingo ladies for one Jack the Ripper. And God's going to say no. You know why? Not that he doesn't like the bingo ladies, but because he goes, dude, someday you and I are going to meet in the battlefield, and one of us has to win. And you know what? I'll take Jack the Ripper over the bingo ladies. I'll take my Genghis Khan. I'll take my. I need warriors that will slaughter you, because if I don't, you're going to slaughter me. And so this is what I'm saying. They both are scrumming for the same thing. And then if you go all the way back to issue 100, we're going way back. The one of the devils, not the devil, one of many, was beheaded by Spawn, right? Malbolgia, the guy who sort of gave him the power, was beheaded by Spawn. And in my mind, the throne has been abdicated. That's it. There we go. So the throne's been abdicated. And it's been this slow burn of people and entities and deities trying to say, oh my God, he who sits in the chair will rule hell, and he who rules hell may rule the universe. If I rule hell, I might be able to take out heaven. If I can take out heaven, I'm sure as heck going to take out the humans. So I can win this whole game. And that even there are going to be angels that are going to know that. Go, what? Shoot, I'll jump sides, because if I can get to that throne, then I may, like a good hitman, I may be able to take out my own godfather at some point, and then I'll be God, right? Shoot, I want to be the godfather. Why am I the hitman? Why am I having to do the dirty work? So there's going to be this is what's going to happen here for the next couple hundred issues. Is this scrum towards power? One big problem. One big problem.
What's that problem?
The outlets that have been bringing people from heaven and hell into Earth have been coming through what we call the dead zones. And Spawn locked them all. He locked them all.
Locked
so they can't,
them out, which means
so
no one comes in, no one gets
and nobody
out.
goes out. And so now all the people that are on Earth that came from one of those two places are now locked on Earth. And first off, if you want to get home, not getting home, doors locked. And if you want to take over the throne, can't even do that, doors locked. So at some point, you need to figure out the first step. How do we unlock the door? Who's got the key? And how do we get the key? Right? And so there's going to be this big spotlight that's going to be turned on to Spawn, because everybody else wants to be a king. And Spawn's going to have to sort of figure out what he's going to do with all of this. And at times it's going to even be people on his own side that are going to be trying to get him to come up with the answers as to, like, just let me out, unlock the door, come on, you know. So, but anyways, that's sort of, and again, everything I just said is going to play out in a big way, you know, literally for the next 4 or 5 years, 6 years. So,
oh, wow. So you already have the plan that deep, because I see it. I mean, you see everything in Spawn's universe, what's going on, a new player on the scene that says, well, I'm here to take over the mantle, and you're going to get me in somehow, brother. Since you've explained how the dead zones are locked. And, you know, obviously Spawn, you know, Al, hard-headed man, is going to be like, I ain't giving you crap, son. You know, but obviously some tides have turned here. This character is able to manipulate, apparently, others in a sense, if you will.
And because of that spotlight, Spawn's going to realize begrudgingly that he can't do this all on his own anymore. And so this is the premise of a little bit of the premise of the Scorch, which is my team book, right? That's going to be my team book, you know, because again, it's a cool word where, you know, they've all been burnt, and you can be burnt basically physically and or mentally, emotionally. So Spawn's going to have to sort of realize that he's in a big battle. He put a tear in the hole. There's now way more enemies than he ever thought before. And he can't keep this flood from coming. And he's going to maybe need some help. And he doesn't. And it's sort of the hardest thing for him to do, is to accept that he's going to need help. And then those that come aren't even necessarily there to be heroes in the true sense. Some of them, somebody like Gunslinger, is like, you pulled me away from where I lived 200 years ago. You took me away from my home too, right? Not only the people from heaven and hell, you took me. Yeah. And like how dare you? And oh, by the way, if you figured out how to pull me forward, surely somewhere you know how to put me back. And Spawn doesn't, because Spawn didn't know he was making the hole in the first place. All this is new.
It was an unintentional act.
Yeah. So now Spawn is going to have to sort of figure out, can he close the hole, and can he at times undo the hole? And there's going to be plenty of people that are going to want him to find those answers out, because that's where their priorities are. They don't care about Spawn, right? Gunslinger, let me tell you in advance, Gunslinger and Spawn are not going to be buddies, right? They're too strong-headed. Both of them are strong-headed, and they're going to tolerate each other at best. But they're both going to have. You're what?
They're both Taurus signs, because they're hard-headed MFers. Oh my gosh, very hard-headed. Yeah. But I think that shows the strength of them. If they were to work together, like, I think that they would be totally unstoppable because of that hard-headedness, that stubbornness. You know, they're going to be able to.
No. And And sometimes they'll understand that. They'll go,
Yeah.
dude, I don't like you and you don't like me. But here's what I know. The people
We
that
gotta
are
survive.
charging at us right now, the people charging at us right now, we both dislike even more. So you know what? For now, you and I like each other, right? So it's okay. We don't have to go for a barbecue and a beer afterward. We can just do our job, figure out what all this means, see if it moves us towards our agendas any better, and we'll see. I want all the characters, especially the heroes, to each have a reason why they're doing what they're doing, other than
Gotcha.
because they've got superpowers and they want to be a superhero.
So where are we going with everyone though? Because like She-Spawn was the character that introduced, early on, right?
Yeah.
Gunslinger in the hundreds and a whole bunch. You've introduced a lot of these characters, and you're going back to the mythos, which I love. I love every creator that does stuff like that. It's like you're using your old stuff, bringing it back to the now, because that's what matters. I mean, what can we expect? I mean, you have the 4 coming. Doesn't she look gorgeous, yo?
Yeah.
My wife has the toy in the living room right now, the original figure. And I let her have it. Because she's like, yeah, but why do you want to collect the girl toy? I'm like, I'll let you have this one. It's like on loan. But where are we going? I mean, are you really going to use the whole expanded? We're starting with we're going to have the 4 lines, right? We got the Spawn, the King Spawn, Gunslinger, and the Scorch. Are they all going to be ongoing? Are some of them minis? Are we going to get more information about the others?
No, the Spawn universe will be the one shot, right? Although if it works, there may be a Spawn universe number 2 in a couple years. Who knows? But King Spawn, Gunslinger, and the Scorch are all going to be monthly. And then if you add to that the regular comic book, then that's the 4 books that you're going to get. So Spawn and King Spawn, which are essentially, if you remember when you like Batman, you could get Batman and Detective. If you like Superman, you could get Superman in Action Comics. If you like Spider-Man, you get Amazing Spider-Man and then Spectacular Spider-Man, right? And eventually some of them even broke off to even more titles. So you're going to be able to get, if you like Spawn, the Spawn character, you're going to get him twice a month. So again, it may be the first time in history again that a creator-owned book, a independent book, has had 2 titles devoted to the same person on a monthly level. That puts me in the same category as those other guys: Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. I mean, these are the big boys. X-Men, the X-Men. I mean, they got multiple titles, so Spawn's going to join their rank.
Spawn has always been a big boy to me, brother. Come on now. I think Spawn could.
But I've been patient. I've been patient with it, and so it's been 30 years, and then Gunslinger is going to come along, which is he's his own character, and he'll have his own monthly, because I just think he deserves it, and it's cool. There'll be a little bit of the lead story will be set in modern time, and then the backup story will be in Western time.
With Gunslinger though, have you had a favorite cowboy that you kind of based them on? Because when I see Gunslinger, I kind of see Clint. I don't know, for some reason.
It's Clint, right? Clint Eastwood and outlaw Josie Wales. That's it.
Yeah, that's who. That's my favorite Clint cowboy movie.
Yeah, okay, and the reason is for I like that guy, and Clint took it when he became Dirty Harry too. Is that character doesn't really smile much, right? Even if you said a joke, he'd sort of look at you weird, squint his eyes, because he's sort of all business, and he just he's here to do what he has to do, and then he just wants to go home, right? And so he's going to be that guy that, if you thought Spawn was serious, then Gunslinger is going to be even more so, right? And you're going to see that Gunslinger doesn't need a pistol to be able to do his dirty work, because you're going to see that, as you see some of the backstory, that he grew up in a time where he was around a lot of different types of people, right? So he was around Indian, Native Americans. He was around the Mexican border, and he saw how those rebellion, went down, and how those people fought. And then he was, the Spanish War and stuff, and then he was around the Americans. So he's he'll be pretty adept to basically be able to kill all the way from using a rifle to a pistol to throwing darts to knives to his bare hands. Right? He's learned it all during his time in the West, and just go, whatever it takes, I'll just do it.
You just made me think of something here, though, because I know that in the toy line, you had kind of a Native American spawn. Would that Native American spawn kind of tie in around the era of the Gunslinger spawn, or is that later on?
We'll figure out where the touch points are for any of the characters. Have a little bit of fun with it. If you, I don't know if I can reach here because I got my earphones in, but let me see. I'll show you a Gunslinger cover we're working on right now.
Oh man, you're doing a cover. Look, folks, we getting exclusive here. Let's check out this sexy thing. This is the Godfather showing us some sexiness over here.
Yeah, no. So I'm just inking over. I'm inking over a cover by Brett Booth, who's phenomenal. So,
bro, the Spawn Universe cover G by Brett Booth is already going for $75 on pre-order. Do you know that?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, yes, we can. Holy smoke. Everybody turn your heads. That looks fire.
Hold on. Why are you spinning? I don't know why it's spinning on me. Darn it. Anyway, I'll go sideways. Turn your head. There, you get a better look.
It's beautiful. Oh, my God. Brett,
so, lots of detail in here. So
look at that belt, bro. I think my baby brother's going to want to buy that belt.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, bro. Brett Booth is a goddamn legend, though, too. How'd you get Brett Booth to do some of these covers, man? Because Brett's the boss. He's been around for Image.
Brett has been part of Image almost as long as me. I don't know if you know that. But he was part of that whole when Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld started their studios, right?
Yeah.
Brett Booth was there. Some of these guys like Dan Panosian. And J. Scott Campbell, right? I mean, all like there's a lot of guys that were there. I mean, Michael Turner before he passed away. I mean, there was just a great group of young talent that Dan Fraga and Michael Murat that were all there, and they've all had pretty decent careers. So every now and then it's like, oh yeah, Brett, yeah, you were there too. Hey, you want to come back and circle back to sort of some Image stuff, that feels like it's brand new again. And he was like, yeah, cool, Todd. I was there before. It sounds like fun. He's a super talented artist, as you can see, but he's also pretty ambitious and pretty friendly and just like, yeah, this would be fun. Let's go. I mean, he just wants to enjoy himself while he's doing his work.
All right, let's do this. So, we have some viewers here, and Mayhem Madness, a good friend of mine, wants you to know he watches the HBO Spawn like every week on Hulu. It's still a masterpiece, and you're always going to be the Spawn father. Do you have a possible maybe animated series in the works for Spawn? Do we have anything like that? Maybe as an idea for the future?
It's possible. Actually, last week I had the conversation with a group of people in Hollywood, and there's the conversation of, do we go live action on TV if we go TV, or do we go animated, or is there actually room to do both, like Batman, right? You can get Batman TV, you can get Batman movie, and you can get Batman animation, right? And they all seem to somehow work. So we're having those conversations. We'll see. Well, I think some of those will be determined upon what we end up doing with, and what the end result is of how we move forward with the live action movie.
Gotcha. I mean, and that's still in the works, correct? That live action? Because I mean, I'm waiting patiently.
Yeah. No, you and me. you and me. So yeah, no. We've been working on it literally through the pandemic the whole time, right? I mean, again, the wheels of Hollywood go slow, so factor that in. But we've been working on it. We've added some new talent to the team that we haven't announced yet. I wish I could, but we haven't. I think people will be blown away when we get to finally announce them. and then pretty soon, just like the TV show, we'll take it into the studios and hope that one of them says yes. So yeah.
Hope, man. Whatever studio turns this down, that they ass if they turn it down. So another question from Ryan Hatt. He goes, his favorite Spawn series was The Adventures of Spawn. Which was
I
the
remember,
YA. Consider going back something like that again.
We've had conversations about doing maybe an animated show that looks like that, feels like that. But if we did that, it'd probably be because I chose to go live action with the TV, and so I wouldn't. I don't know that I'd want to do sort of a dark, gritty Spawn, and then the Adventures of Spawn. I think it'd make a cool video game. I think it'd make even a good comic book. But I wouldn't want it to compete. Oh, there you go. There's old school.
The Dreamcast Spawn game. This is actually the Japanese edition.
Yeah,
I had to have this in my life, bro. I mean, yes, folks. Look, it's still in here. I'm not bullshitting you. Yeah, it fell out. How nice. But there you go.
Yeah. No, that's old school right there.
Stop teasing me, man. Because in MK11, the only character I looked forward to was Spawn, so I could kick everybody's ass to Spawn. I mean, will we get a Spawn video game?
Yeah, I think here's the thing now that and I know that it's frustrating because it's frustrating for me as time goes by, but if you can play your cards right and catch a little bit of a break, then what ends up happening is you get what they call a snowball effect. And a snowball effect, the reason they call it that is because you roll that little ball down the hill, and as it rolls, it picks up and it gets bigger on all sides. So I just think that between what we're doing now with the Spawn book and now with the expansion of the universe, some of the things we're doing in the TV space, but then I think the big linchpin is going to be, what we end up doing with the movie. That's going to open up the floodgates. And from there, then you're going to have people go, oh my gosh, I got to make a video. Oh my gosh, I got to do a video game of this. I got to make this. I got to make this. And they're going to be ringing my doorbell and asking me if I want to license a bunch of it, or whoever buys it, whatever studio buys it or whatever. So, you saw it happen when Walking Dead went from just a comic book into TV land. And, I'm not saying that Spawn will be nearly as successful as Kirkman's, Walking Dead, but
you're so humble. Stop it. If Spawn
Walking Dead set like records. So like God bless him. But it also expanded. All of a sudden you're seeing, prequels now and you're seeing toys and video games and T-shirts, and it just starts tumbling out of the success of one or two items. So I think you need a big catalyst, and I think the big catalyst obviously would be a movie that people would go and enjoy and have some success, and then we're off to the races. So
yeah, I think they need to go back and enjoy the old school, because let me tell you, Todd, I was there on opening night of the Spawn movie with my bootleg Spawn TV. I found off some comic shop somewhere that was local. Like showing off my fan. I'm like, yo, this is like my day. I have another question here from BC. He goes, Todd, what's the craziest boardroom story you can share without any names?
Wow. I've got shit. I've been shoot, dude. I could fill a book. I could fill a book of those stories. I could fill a book of those stories. So
I mean, you that type of personality, like you don't take no shit. You walk into a room, you listen, and you be like, "What the f do you mean, bro?" And yo, this is why I love you as an entrepreneur. You're that type of person, no holds barred, and your tongue ain't held, and I love that. That inspires me, bro. I love it.
So I'll give you a quick one. When we were at Image, at the beginning of Image, you can imagine we were making a big deal with ourselves. So Hollywood came, knocking pretty hard on our door. And one of the matter of fact, the biggest agency in Hollywood wanted to take all of us and represent all of us at the same time. I was of the mindset that shouldn't happen. That not because they weren't the biggest and the best agency, but I didn't think that if they had all of us, they could represent all of us sort of to the best of their ability. And so, for example, you've got everybody. You've got, Jim Valentino, Eric Larson, Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, and myself, Jim Lee. And we're all in one agency. So let's play it out. We're all in one agency. And then somebody comes along from Universal and says, hey, you know what? I want to make a movie based on a comic book idea. And I want to send over one of your clients that you think can come up with some cool stuff that has sort of a fantasy superhero bent to it. Well, you just signed off 6 of us, right? So which one are you sending over to Universal, right? And here's what I know: it should be me, and I only say that because I'm me, and Jim Lee should be saying it should be me, and Rob and Eric, everybody should be saying it should be me, right? So I always thought that it would have made more sense was that if the 6 of us went to 6 different agencies, so that when that phone call came, all 6 of us would be competing and everybody would be hustling for all 6 of us. Anyways, we went to go have that meeting, where the agency was going to, sort of give us their speech of why they should keep us all. And it was the biggest meeting I ever been in, ever. I still, to this day, it may be. And they had somebody from video games and literary and TV and animation and ancillary and movies and you name it, they were in this room, and all the bigwigs. And
wow.
Mark Silvestri didn't know it on that day, but I just flipped a coin. Mark came up, and I said to myself, whatever Mark Silvestri says, I'm going to say the opposite, right? And so you can imagine where that went. So we got going and everybody got excited, and then Mark eventually would say something. And then at the end I go, well, hold on. I don't agree with that. Right. I don't agree with that. And I would say the opposite. And then we get going again. And then Mark would say something. And I go, well, hang on a sec. I disagree. I think the opposite. Now, again, whatever Mark was saying, I wasn't saying the opposite because I disagreed. I just made it a pact that I was going to say the opposite. Right? Good, bad, or indifferent, whatever he was saying. And the reason is that I just wanted to see what would happen if they got pushed a little bit to just sort of go, hey, you've got 6 different personalities, right? So how do you deal with all these crazies? Anyways, yeah. So, but anyways, at the end of it, the agents were all scratching their head going, obviously you guys don't have your shit together. Now, part of it was they misunderstood. They thought we were like a partnership, a true partnership, that we all like were part of one company that shared and owned all those characters. They didn't quite understand that each one of us owned our characters individually, right?
Owned your own,
but anyways, they eventually sent us out of the room and said, hey, whenever you guys basically get your shit together, come on back, right?
Oh, damn.
Anyways, so in the parking lot, you can imagine, I got a bit of a tongue lashing from some of my partners because they're like, Todd, this is the biggest agency. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I just was like, come on, guys, come on, so I think 3 or 4 of them ended up going back and getting rep by him anyways. But I later, I just go, well, I don't know, maybe, you guys all go, I'll go someplace else. And if none of you go, I'll probably take them. Right. Again, I don't care. Just, I think we need to divide. But in the meantime, while you guys were angry at me, and they were mad, and they should have been, they had a rightful reason to be mad. That because I blew a big meeting for everybody.
You were gangster, bro. I get it, man.
I also had the meeting that same day for the guy who was going to eventually buy the rights and do the Spawn movie at New Line Cinema. And so from that meeting to the other one, I just go, hey, I got another meeting. They're like, where are you going? And I said, hey, I got to go meet this guy. And it was like, and I remember a couple of guys were really mad. Were like, can I come with you? Right? Because it was another big meeting. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I don't care. And so, ended up getting the movie made anyways. But anyways, that was just one of those ones where I was just being silly, and I shouldn't. In hindsight, I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have ruined the day for all six of my partners, right? I mean, it's like, so I've learned to just do that on when I'm by myself, and I just go, okay, this isn't going to affect anybody else but me. So
If you
I
can
can be,
shit on yourself, it's all good. But let me not shit on my partners.
yeah,
I
that
love
was
it.
it wasn't very kind. It wasn't very kind in hindsight. So, but when you're young, right? You're not thinking about it all, right? You're not. So, like I said, remember we were all in our late 20s, the best early 30s. I mean, we were still kids, right? We were still trying to figure out the world. So
That's what I'm saying, brother. You recently turned, the big 6-0, but you still have the energy of a 20-year-old on some real
shit,
business, and you
yeah.
stay passionate. I mean, what's the secret to staying so passionate, brother? For real.
Um, well, if you like what you're doing, so how do I stay passionate with my wife? But I love that woman, right? And so it's been over 40 years with my wife, a lot longer than Spawn.
Oh,
And I adore her every day. So to me, if you find something that you enjoy and you like being around, it's easy. Also, let me also add, Al, I run other companies, right? And I do other things, and between Hollywood and the toy company and some other licensing stuff, I do have to go to these board meetings and stuff. And sometimes
this
at the end of the day, I just it's just so corporate. It's so heavy. It's so anti me, right? So it's just my personality. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not me. And so at the end of the day, Al, I get to turn in the corner, and no matter what's going on in my life, I get to turn to my baby, and I get to
oh
go,
yes,
wow, there's my baby, right? And now I get to go into my corner and I get to do whatever I want. I don't have to ask anybody's permission. I don't have to get anybody's approval. I don't have to, I just come up with crazy, fun, enjoyable ideas, and then I get to do it. So the comic books, I keep telling people, are, at this point in my life, is my sanity. It's my vitamin every
oh,
day, because
vitamin
if I was just doing corporate stuff all the time, it would drive me crazy. So I need to have my fix of being, an individual creator, and just basically making my own decisions for my own life. Oh yeah,
absolutely.
there's a bunch of
And there you
toys there.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're extending the Spawn universe, but you're also doing this via the McFarlane toy line. Again, this is what I'm saying, bro. I love you very much. My wife, not so much, possibly because you're making me spend so much money.
No,
Because I need this toy line in my life. I mean, for
no.
example, just looking at the Violator, my brother sent me this image, and I told my brother, "Wow, he looks Diesel." And his answer was because he's tired of Spawn kicking his ass, he began to work out.
Oh
So,
yeah. Look, if
tell me
you if
about
you if you look at the issue 300, no, Clown got big, and Violator got big, right? So they,
Adidas, huh?
yeah, so it's time for them to it's time for him to buck up. Yeah.
So, what's up with this toy line, man? So, what do you mean pre-order? So, they're not out on June 23rd, but we can start ordering them on June 23rd.
Yeah.
And where?
Yeah.
Where can we order?
I
Oh my
there's
God,
fun,
he has the
there
toy. Everybody, he's teasing us. Look at him. Oh my
there's a
God, that looks good.
toy. Shoot, we got the toy. Let's see what we got here. I might even have the
People
Violator. I
want
did it.
They
So,
want to know
anyways,
where can they pre-order this because they want to buy it like ASAP.
wow, that's actually a good question. I should know that, shouldn't I? Who's pre-ordering it? I don't know. I don't want to say. Usually, it's one of our big accounts, right?
Okay.
But I don't want to. I don't want to say that it's one when it's somebody else. But usually most of our pre-orders we do are with like usually four accounts, either like GameStop, Amazon, Walmart, Target. One of those four. I will make sure that we put up on our social, like where you can pre-order.
And I know that Carmen that helped me put this together with you would definitely send me this info because Carmen is awesome too. And we have people that are willing to fight you for it. They're like, they want that one, the one you just showed us on the phone.
Oh, yeah. No. They're coming out. We're like I said, we got a bunch. We got a bunch coming down the pipeline. So all the most of the Spawn universe will be eventually turned into plastic. Let me just say that. So.
Oh my God, bro, you're gonna make broke. I love it.
And then
Thank you.
there'll be some variations on some of it. So right.
Well, one of my favorite variations is from your MK universe because I don't know if you noticed the comic potato colors. I had to get.
Oh yeah. That's from Mortal Kombat.
I call him Crusader Spawn because he shares the comic Crusaders colors. Yeah. And of course, thanks to Bob O'Mac, I have the Kickstarter Modern Spawn.
Oh yeah.
God, bro. I mean, you kicked ass bigger, bro. I mean, when you were finally able to hold this in your hands, how did you feel?
It's always fun. It's always fun to have like a toy come out better sometimes than you were hoping for. It's frustrating when a toy comes out worse than you thought. I've had plenty of those. But sometimes you do something and you go, wow, that turned out better than I thought. That's cool, right? Let's keep going. It's sort of like golf when you make that good shot and then it takes you like another 5 months to ever make that shot again. But it keeps driving you that it's possible because you did it once, right? So keep going. The elusive, can I keep repeating myself? But we'll just keep going. We've had a lot of success with the DC Multiverse toys in the last year, right? Lots of cool figures. Yeah, lots of cool figures coming out on that end. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have people here already that they got the hardcover Spawn comic book. Daniel Black is like, oh my God, those figures look amazing. That Gunslinger man, I'm so happy you could actually pose the hell out of them. No pun intended, because based on your older figures, going from a smaller articulation to 22 point. Oh my God, look at that! Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
Todd, you killed
badass.
It, bro.
He's badass. He's badass.
About your toy line now having even more points of articulation as compared to the original run, because I do have the original run still boxed up in their plastic cases because I'm that type of person. That's the only one I still have in box. Everything else I pulled out of box.
I'll give you a teaser. I do notes over, right? Just playing here with.
No, you're not.
The young lady. So, So
everybody's
making sure we get the hair right. So, but
I love it, man, and thank you for doing that, Jessica Priest, and everything you've been doing with Spawn as a long-time collector since day one. I mean, I wanted to pull out my box of comics, but I was like, nah, that'll make the podcast too long because I've got every single issue, and then I got the variants of stuff, and I got my toys. And it's funny, somebody says, I'm going to make my wife cosplay that female Spawn. I don't want to get into the dirty details of that. But that's amazing. So what do you want to leave us with here, Ty? Because,
I will tell you, I'll give you a teaser. This great artist here, Puppeteer Lee, who did this cover. I don't know if it's not showing very well, but when you see it, I mean, it's just staggeringly good, right? And it looks like he's got these veiny sort of bat wings and stuff.
Yes.
But he had so much fun with it. He goes, Todd, can I do another one? I'm like, you should do it. You can do 100.
Do as many as you want, kiddo.
Yeah. So it was interesting that he sent me a sketch. He goes, I want to do a sheet spawn, right? So you can imagine that quality with sheet spawn. And I go, yeah. And so he gave me a couple of sketches, right? She's standing there, badass. She got the big gun, looking cool. I made a couple comments, always nervous making comments with anybody because they're so good. But it was, I look at like tangent lines and a couple of things that are, or costumes off. And so he goes, no, okay, cool. I'll fix it. So then he showed me the sketch with a little bit of the fix. And I went, yeah, perfect. That's good. And then I didn't hear from him for 2 months. Right.
Oh, wow.
And then I sort of went back to him and this one, hey, just, hey, just checking in, no rush, but just checking in. And then he said, oh, that's right. I'm almost done with the sheet spawn. Sorry about that. And then he sent it to me and it had nothing to do with that sketch. So he had come up with a completely another idea and just went off and did it. And it was way cooler than the original sketch, right? I mean, it just another blow your mind image of going, oh my God, right? So I had a couple minor tweaks to it I thought it was so good. I just wanted a little bit of clarity in some spots just so that it would visually pop. But he did another one. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but it's another staggeringly good cover by this super talented guy. So Puppeteer League.
It's gonna be part of my collection. It's again, you do 3, 4, 5 covers sometimes, and I get them all. I mean, normally you do 3, kind of. That's what I tend.
Yeah, on the regular books. Although we might cut it down to only a couple because we're gonna have 4 books. So I don't want to push the luck of the customer. So we'll maybe probably tamp that down a little bit. Yeah.
Gotcha. But listen, I'm in it 100 for the rest of my life. This has become my number 1 character in life. If anybody asks me who's my favorite character, I like DC, I like Marvel, but if you want some awesomeness, you got to check out Spawn. Again, the fact that it's a POC character that's lasted over 300 issues from an amazing independent level from top-notch creator like yourself that birthed
Al, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go procreate and make about 1 million little baby owls. So then I'll be able to do this for the rest of my life. So I appreciate your support, but I need more than just Al. I need enough. I need enough. Let me also say to anybody out there that's thinking of creating or is going to go out there and expose himself artistically. So here's what I know that's intellectually true every single day of my life. No matter how big of a following I get, if you round that number to the closest sort of whole number in a percentage, whole number percentage, based against the entire world's population, it probably comes out to 0, right? So no matter how good I am on my best day, the number still rounds down to 0. So this is that thing that it's like, with celebrity and fame, that even if you get it, and again, I mean, obviously people like LeBron James and those people are obviously have 1,000 times more than I have, but I'm saying, I've got a decent following globally and it still rounds down to 0. So I don't know why anybody wants to get cocky about 0, because it's not a big number. And the other part is that if everybody dislikes you, you get a lot of criticism. Then you're still got basically 100% of the people, rounding to the nearest number, that don't know you even exist. So if somebody criticizes, like, it's okay because you're already at 100%, right? So what does it matter? You got a couple critics. What does it matter? Because your number is still insignificant overall. So just do what you want to do, period. So here, like for me, Al, this is how it works. Like tomorrow I'm going to do a drawing and I'm going to put it up and I'm going to put it on my Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm here to tell you that if everybody that sees it hates it, I'm still putting up another one the next day. And if everybody sees it, loves it, the opposite, I'm still putting up a drawing the next day, right? So in a weird way, it doesn't matter if they all hate you or if they all love you. I'm just going to do what I'm doing. I'm just like, I only control one person's life. That's mine. I know what I'm doing. I don't get to control anybody else. And so I just do it. And then I cross my fingers And I hope that I can find enough people globally, and I've been lucky that I have, so that I can keep doing it. And now I'm, over 30 years into it. And so that's all I need. I don't need the whole world to like what I do. I don't need a billion people. I don't even need 100 million people. I need enough to basically allow me to basically pay the bills and pay the people that work with me. And so we can get up and do it again tomorrow. That's it. That's not bad. So I'm not chasing. I don't need everybody to like what I do. It's not even necessary. I as long as I've got enough, then anything over that is just extra. It's just bonus, right? And so I've been lucky enough that I've always had just enough people to keep going and going and going and going and going. And whether it's 10 times bigger or 10 times smaller, it doesn't matter, because it's still enough. Both of those numbers are enough. And that's all I need. For me, that's all I need. I don't need the ego stroke. I don't need the money, because otherwise I charge you $3.99. I'm charging you $2.99 for the books once we get past issue 1. So to me, it's just figuring out ways to keep people. And I think if you put out a quality book and you charge them $2.99, then maybe there will be enough of them, and I can keep doing it. So, and luckily, it's been happening for 30 years.
So I got someone here stories talking about you're a dedicated artist and a master of business. Somebody laughed at your comment. Be fruitful and multiply, Spawn fans. And then I am the Joe Diaz asked, are we getting an Arkham Knight, Batgirl, or Nightwing from the series, the McFarlane toy series, or what?
So what was it specifically? Because we do a lot. So let me see if I remember.
An Arkham Knight, Batgirl, and Nightwing.
I think so. Let me say, I think so. I know we're working on a couple of those. I don't know where they come from. So sometimes we do stuff from the comics. Sometimes we do stuff from the video game. Sometimes if the character is also in a TV show, we mix and match them a little bit, right? So
yes, you do.
But
most of the time, you make me spend my money. That's just the truth of it.
well, the thing is, Al, is that I never expect anybody to buy all of it. That's not what we do. I consider myself to be like a creative buffet. And in a buffet, you walk in and there's all these options, or like a candy store or whatever, but let's stick with the buffet. And then you get your tray and you put down your plate, and you can't have all of it. First off, you don't even like all of it. So you only put on your plate what you enjoy personally, right? And then you go and you pay for it. So, right now I'm going to put out some more comics. I'm going to put up some more toys and do some entertainment, and hopefully do some video games and some cool stuff. But my expectation isn't for anybody to support all of it. It's, here's a bunch of options. Here's a bunch of flavors. Do any of these taste good to you? Hopefully you'll take a couple home with you. If I give enough of option, then instead of just one flavor, then maybe I'll catch a couple more people, because they go, Todd, you've just been doing vanilla, but now you're doing chocolate. I like chocolate better than vanilla. Okay, I'll come now. So my goal from a business point of view is to just keep giving you potential options, and then just take home what you like, what you have an appetite for.
I know you don't force this, Todd, but me, because I'm just an avid supporter and fan. This is what I do. I break the bank.
No. I'm grateful for you, and like I said, if I had the power, Al, I'd make everybody be just like you. But I have the old saying that I've said plenty of times: name's Todd, only rhymes with God. Right? I only get to control one person every day, and that's me. I don't control anybody. Not even my own wife. Like, what do you talk about? She has her life. She does her thing. So I don't like. We as creative people don't get to control how much our fans like or dislike us, which is why it's always interesting when some punk rock band gets really popular and people go, "You're a sellout," right? They don't have any power. They don't have any power over who buys their stuff and why all of a sudden a bunch of people want to buy it. You don't have any power over it, right? I mean, sometimes it's good for business. It's good. It's good for the bank account. It allows you to keep doing stuff creatively, but you don't. If it was that easy, we would all basically be making our fans do whatever, but we don't, right? All we can do is create. It's like, here, we're going to create. Here's our option. Does any of this make any sense? And let the creative let the creator put it out and let the customer decide. And that's it. That's all we got, right? And when they decide in your favor, you thank them. You thank them profusely when you see them, whether it's in person or whether it's on a podcast here or like yourself. Thank you, Al. Or whether it's at a convention, right? Anybody who's ever given my company or me $1 deserves a debt of gratitude from me, right? I only exist because of people supporting me, right? I can come up with 1,000 ideas, 1,000,000 ideas. If nobody buys them, I got nothing. I got nothing. I don't have a job. So I am aware of that out every single second of my career. That I am only as good as the customers and the fans around me. So what does that mean? I better treat them good. So
you've been treating us good. And now I just want to have 2 more questions. So the last one from a fan is there any reason we're gonna see any more Walking Dead toys from the McFarlane side? Because apparently there've been a lot of fans of the Walking Dead figures.
Yeah. Well, I know everything. Here's the thing, that no matter what you're doing, no matter how big it is, no matter how popular something is, there's a natural bell curve, right? It comes in and it goes big and it big, and then eventually it starts to go and it starts to go down. So, and for as giant as the sales were for and the viewership was for Walking Dead, we can still do a toy here and there. But in terms of when we go to the retailers, you can imagine the big retailers, they're all looking for like, what's the newest thing, right? Like, give us Stranger Things, give us Witcher, give us Game of Thrones, whatever's the new hot thing. They always want to chase the new hot thing, right?
So you make some fire witches though, bro. Let me fucking hell, bro. Everything from your company just so well made and so collectible. I love it, man. You
well, and I mean, here's why I think we succeed is we try to do as much quality as we can and still try to put it in that $20-$25 package. And I see a lot of toys out in the marketplace. They're going for way more than that. Some even pushing $100 that to me are not dramatically different than my $20-$25 toy, right? And to me, is somebody who's trying to collect, I don't know, if you're going to charge 4 times as much, I mean, it's like, show me that it's worth 4 times. Show me the 4 times of value. And I don't even know how I could do a $80-$100 toy. I don't even know how to do it. Right? It's like, what do you? I mean, I guess you can put in lights and electronics and whatever else, but the Kickstarter, you know, I was able to deliver that at $40, and that got you a figure, and it got you sort of, you know, better paint than you normally would have. It got you the comic book that would have at a convention would have cost you $20-$25 for the comic book. It got you the new packaging. It got you the foam inside. It got you the big box. It got you the you know, the slip cover. I mean, to me, for $40, that was a lot of value in that box, right? I mean, you've got one. I mean, I'm obviously I'm biased, but I know people were frustrated because it took a long time to deliver it, and then I was equally frustrated. And I'll, you know, not go with that same company. Not, but what I was hoping for is that once they finally did get it, they would go. Not that it was worth the wait, because that I don't think is fair, but that it was worth the money. And at $40, it was a lot of value for $40.
Yes. So. Yes. I mean, these are beautiful figures, and I've been buying them since day one. Like I told you, I have the OG still in the original cases and whatnot. Yeah. And to see that growth from then to this, holy shit, Todd. I mean, night and day. So the many points of articulation, the look,
Yeah.
the design,
Well,
bro. I mean, you.
the other thing now too is with the DC multiverse, we've been able to do figures that have at at times have never been out in the marketplace. Right? That
Yeah.
look has never been made. Good, bad, or
Nope.
indifferent. It's never been made. I mean, obviously, classic Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. I mean, they've been made, and they've been made really well by a lot of different people. And this was part of the conversation I was having with Warner Brothers. Is like, hey, you know, we should be differentiating ourselves from what the other toy maker is doing. Spin Master doing a good job at what they're doing, but why do you want us to be basically making the same toy? One just a little bit bigger and a little bit more expensive, right? Why don't we literally differentiate the two and let people decide if they're like a geek and they want this cool figure and they want it big and a little more expensive, or they want classic, right? I mean, so give them a choice. And once we were able to sort of go in that direction and start doing characters that obviously are lesser known, both in the comic book and for sure out in the world, the real world. But what is always been saleable is a good looking toy. So there are just some cool designs of these characters that may not be the biggest character. It may not even be an A character. It might be a B, some cases a C character, but they look good. They look good when you see them in plastic up on a shelf, right? Their costumes are awesome, and they look like a toy, and nobody's made it. And so again, we're having a lot of success of doing a lot of these characters that come out in recent years in the obviously the DC publishing end, and people are responding to it. So cool.
Yeah. And not just that, man. You're kicking ass with the Spawn figures, like those Mandarin spawns and the different looks to them, like an extended Mandarin army. Like, bro, you're scaring me here. I love it. And my brother says that my mom named me Al after Spawn. So apparently she was way ahead in time, and she told the future that I would be a fan of Al Simmons Spawn and named me out for that reason.
There you go.
That's my baby brother. So Todd, bro, yo, listen, I don't want to take too much more up for your time because I know you've had a long day according to Carmen and the team over there. So
it's hot. I'm just hot. I'm just hot. But it's okay. Last week we had, I think it was last week or whatever it was, Tuesday we got the numbers for the, highest selling book, 21st century, for a new title, just be clear, because both Robert Kirkman on Walking Dead and myself with Spawn, we've had higher selling books on our regular books, so for a new launch title. And then the next day, so we got that on Tuesday. Wednesday was had the number one toy for the week at Amazon on the action figure, beating anything that Hasbro, Mattel, and Playmates and whoever had. We had more toys. We had more toys in the top 50 at Amazon in that category than any company on the planet. And so we continue to sort of crush it there. And then that was Wednesday, and then Thursday was the announcement of Sam and Twitch in Hollywood. So Tuesday was comic book news, pretty good headline, and then Wednesday was toy news, number one, pretty good headline, and then that Thursday was entertainment, pretty good headline. So what I continue to try to do is just keep putting these sort of options out there, and sometimes comic books go down and entertainment goes up. Sometimes toys are going up, entertainment's going down. Comic books, so this is the proverbial: don't put your eggs all in one basket. And that way, hopefully, when anything's going down, there's always something to counterbalance it.
So before you go, I told you I'm a Spawn fan. I ain't bullshitting you, bro. Are we gonna get another card set similar to this? When you make the new stuff? Yeah, bro, I got it. I got the whole set. I got the binder and all that shit, bro. So what's up, man? Are we gonna get any Spawn collectible trading cards, since that happens to be so hot nowadays?
Yeah, you know what? It's possible. It's interesting because talking to some people about like NFTs, NFTs, although I can't quite get my head wrapped around it, but trying to see if
It's very
I can
interesting.
figure out how to do something that is reasonable and not silly and goofy and make a money grab because it's not interesting to me. Can we do stuff that will engage the fan base? But part of it might be you buy the NFT card and then we give you an actual physical version of it that goes with it or something like that. So we've been talking about a lot of crazy stuff. So yeah.
Spawn hits the tech verse. So one last question from a fan. It's Bernard Monte. He said in 2019 you announced you were working on possibly 2 new animated series. Is that still happening?
Yeah, one was the conversation about the Adventures of Spawn, right?
Yes.
That was the one, and then the other one was just sort of that hardcore, really aggressive sort of one we did kind of like on HBO, that R-rated version. And the answer is yes. I mean, I have.
You mean this one?
Yeah, I have.
VHS,
I have
bro.
work that we did years ago on one that's 90 minutes long that's teed up, ready to go. I keep telling people.
Really?
So the answer is yes. We just keep pushing the stuff. What I'm trying to do is see if I can sort of coordinate it so that once one domino goes, it basically knocks over another, and then all of a sudden Spawn becomes a meaningful word outside of just sort of this tight geekdom that collects the toys in the comic books. Can we get it out to a broader base? Basically, and I mean, obviously, you're never going to replicate something like what happened with The Walking Dead, but can you have even a smaller value of something like that? I mean, like Robert Kirkman had this TV show, The Invincibles, that on Hulu, and all of a sudden, everybody wants a video game now. People doing drawings, fan drawings. He's his back issue trade paperbacks are blowing up. So it all just like I said, that snowball starts to grow, and all of a sudden you can start having way more fun and thinking about some of these things that have been, just developed but nobody pulled the trigger. So I'm trying to be patient to line it all up, although I'm slowly losing my patience, but we'll figure it out. I'm too stubborn. I'm too stubborn not to.
I get you, man. You must be a Taurus, because just like me, a hard-headed, stubborn MFer that's gonna keep going.
Yeah, no, I'm actually a Pisces, but I'm just mule-headed. But people go, well, Todd, your grit and your determination, where did it all come from? And really the easy answer is it was there when I came out of the womb. I mean, there's not one day that I remember not being sort of hyper, if you will. And my mom and my dad will surely back that up, because they know I got in trouble and was on a first name basis with most of the principals. So they know that Todd's enthusiasm isn't a late blooming thing. That's been there literally since kindergarten, when I started getting in trouble at a very young age. So.
Oh man, thank God we didn't go to high school together, because that would have been a problem. So with that, Todd, bro, I really appreciate your time today. As a fan, thank you for keep going with this amazing character that I've loved since the 90s. I mean, I've collected Spawn longer than I have been married, and I have been married 25 years now. So Spawn has always been there. I can tell wifey, Spawn's been here before you, so don't mess around. Don't tell me to stop collecting this shit.
Yeah.
No,
Al, before I go, the people like you are equally important to this process. Not Spawn related. I'm just going generic in terms of just keeping fandom alive, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you provide a great service to people. You engage people, especially I would say during the pandemic when people needed that engagement. And so anybody that's out there speaking the gospel of fandom, I don't care if it has even 0% to do with anything I'm doing. I'm a cheerleader for them. because I think that we need to stick together as a whole. And I think we need to be proud of and talk about what it is that we like as individuals, right? Whether it's our favorite sports team, if it's the music or the fashions, and in some cases it's just the entertainment that we basically like to watch, either at home or maybe pretty soon back in theaters on a regular basis. So thanks to people like you, right? There's everybody's lifting all of this at the same time, and then the fans deserve the biggest applause by far. But it's just cool. I think it's just cool to hang out with good people. So
Thank you, brother. Like, it's always an honor to speak to you. Like I said, I've had the pleasure of meeting you in person at San Diego, New York, Toy Fair, which is cool. Even though Carmen didn't appreciate that, I was taking too much of your time, and you like talking to fans, which is great, But
yeah,
but the agents don't like that. Like, yo, you got to do something, But that's what's awesome about you, Todd. That's what makes you, I think, very unique amongst most creators. You really do appreciate the fan base. You really engage the fan base. You make time for the fan base.
I think I would say, Al, that I'm not overly unique. I would say that comic book people as a whole are really good. I think we're a good group of people that we appreciate the people who support us. So I mean, I've been around long enough. I would know who sort of the bad guys are, if you will. I don't hear it too often. I don't hear that, like, oh, that person, every time he goes to convention, he's always big shot, big shot. I like the comic book people. I think I think we're a fairly unique sort of community, and that's why I like to hang out with them. I mean, look at Robert Kirkman, for all the success he's had in Hollywood, especially, you can imagine when his Walking Dead was going and everybody was, going in his ear. Still, he still was, at his heart, he's still a comic book guy, and he enjoys being around comic book people way more than celebrities as a whole, right? Not that there aren't some great celebrities, but he'd rather just be sitting in a room with a couple comic book people talking comic books, right? It's his thing, right? And so, we all know what we are in our DNA at our core. And so it's easy. To me, it's easy to enjoy being out at the shows and be nice, because the people that are in front of you are nice and cordial and accommodating and courteous and all those, like this is easy, right? This is easy. So I don't understand, to some extent, why some celebrities find it a bother. It's weird to me.
Oh, believe you me, I've seen situations where celebrities at a con and somebody happened to take a picture from a distance because maybe they didn't have a chance. And the celebrity go up to the person and be like, yo, delete that right now. I won't say who it is, but it was definitely a hulking character that was telling somebody, like, you better delete that right now. I was like, wow, bro, really? But but that's what I'm saying. To me, you are unique. You're one of those few that really engage. Yeah, there are definitely some others, but for you, bro, you're the top father, bro. And again, I thank you for creating my favorite character of all time. Something that I'm going to carry in my heart always, and a big supporter of, as you can see by my shelf. I mean, that's not even a fraction of what I have in regards to the universe.
Yeah. One last thing too, Al, is that I'm trying to put together potentially my own podcast, right?
Oh,
to just, I don't really want to talk. I don't want to talk comics per se. I just want to talk about life. Right. I just want to engage with other humans. I want to make it so that people can actually phone in, which is part of the reason I'm looking at some of the equipment. I keep asking them, like, what do I need to be able to get phone calls to come in?
I got the Mini Studio US 42, and you could plug in a cell phone into this bad boy and actually.
No. I don't want to. Right, but I want to kick it up, so make sure that the sound quality is as good as it possibly can be. But anyway, like I said, I like to just sit back and listen to what other people have to say about the world. Not about comic books specifically, not about me. I don't care. Just about the world, and just have a chat about the world. So anyways, hopefully we'll get that up and running here pretty soon.
I foresee the name, the Todd Cast, coming up. The Todd
Yeah.
Cast. Come on, let's
Yeah.
get it done.
Todd,
And with
Todd,
that, you brought up a good point. Yesterday was Father's Day, so a happy belated Father's Day to you. And I know that one of your kiddos was one of those frontline workers. So before we go, how is that kiddo's health? And again, a big thank you to your kiddo for her frontline work.
Yeah, she worked in a hospital when it started to ramp up. For a while she was working in trauma. And so what ends up happening in trauma is that somebody gets in a car wreck or something like that. And so they bring people into the ER and you have to just help them. And then after you help them, stabilize them if you can, then they were testing them after the fact, right? So you didn't know, right? So you had all these people, not just her, but the whole staff at that point. And then at the end, and then every now and then they'd say, oh, by the way, who worked on patient Smith? Because he just tested positive, right? And so they'd have to quarantine them and whatever else. So the answer is yes, she got COVID along the way because she was interacting with people that were coming in and nobody knew. But she was, obviously one of the lucky ones. She's young and healthy and rebounded, but she had to stay away from the hospital for a while until she got her health back and got going. But yeah, so and then my other daughter has an autoimmune, so we have to be very careful about her because she gets sick, and so everybody has different reasons for doing what they're doing, and I know there's a lot of people taking sides and whatever else, and it's like this is that whole thing that it's just like you control one person, yourself, so just do what's right for you, right? Don't put what's right for you on anybody else because their life experience may be different than yours, and just do it. And so if some people are going to the grocery store and still want to wear their mask, it may be for a dozen reasons. Either they've had it, which we've had friends, they've been compromised, their immunity system's down, so they're just being precautious, or because they have somebody elderly, or they have, like my family, somebody that's susceptible, and so they're just doing and protecting whatever else, and it makes sense for them. It's they're not doing it for anybody else, right? So it's just I don't know. I'm at the point now where for me a mask is like sunglasses. It's like you don't medically need to wear sunglasses, but people do. And I'm sure you have your reasons why you wear sunglasses. Good on you for wearing sunglasses. I don't wear sunglasses, right?
Please tell me you wear a Spawn mask.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is that like I don't like it's like I get it. Medically, I don't need to wear sunglasses, neither do you, but you do it. Why do you do it? Either for style, or because you like it, or because you think you're saving your like whatever. I don't care what your reason is. It's your face. It's your face, right? So to me, a mask is now no different than sunglasses. Some people want to wear them, some people don't. Cool, whatever. Let's go, right? So
I hear that because my daughter has the most stylish mask you ever seen, full of spikes and shit. It looks so scary, so mad.
Yeah, no, there's lots of there's some super cool stuff. There's some super cool stuff. But like I said, people are getting worked up. People get worked up, and I don't know why. Surely
protecting you or themselves. You don't know. Don't ask. It's better. Listen, at least they're wearing something. All right. So shut up. That's how I go.
No. I'm just saying. Everybody has their reasons why or why not. Like, cool, right?
Yeah,
so
cool is right. Cool is right.
To me, it's like the color of your shirt now. It's like, okay, I wouldn't wear plaid, but you do what you got to do, right? So if you want to wear plaid.
Don't get into shirts because everybody needs to get this shirt right here.
Yeah,
right?
There it is.
Yeah. Man, I picked this up at San Diego when you released this. So this is the OG from that first run in San Diego.
That's it.
Come on now.
Bro, Todd, all right, Al, I appreciate you having me all this time. Appreciate you letting me interact with your fans. So
no, man, no. I thank you for taking time out of your day because again, I know you've been busy. You rock. Much love. Everybody, you can follow Todd at Todd McFarlane, one word on Instagram, Todd _McFarlane on Twitter, McFarlane Toys 1 on Twitter, McFarlane Toys plain on Instagram. Yes, I remember all of them because I'm an avid follower. Because Todd, you're the man. Again, thank you for everything you've done thus far. You know, I want to have you back in at least a couple of months after the Spawn universe, and we get that King Spawn, that Scorch, that Gunslinger, and God knows what else, bro. Because you know, hopefully by then I'm gonna have these 6 figures on these 5 figures on my shelf back here. But that Raven Spawn looks like that's gonna be the toughest to get because it really looks sexy.
Well, I'm hoping too, by the time Scorch comes out in December, maybe there may be some movement on some of the entertainment front too. So hopefully we'll have some news on that front.
Bro, please, yo, if you do a video game, please make it for Xbox. God, please. I don't want to go nowhere. And everybody here, Daniel Black, let's go Todd, let's go CC, let's go Wepa. They're all happy. Our fans are saying thank you for your time. Everybody appreciates you. Much love. You stay healthy and best believe Omega is going to be fun.
You be good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother. Much love, brother. Hasta la próxima. Folks, that was the legendary Todd McFarlane on the Comic Crusaders podcast. Please make sure to check out Spawn Universe #1 coming out this Wednesday from Image Comics. Already the highest selling comic of the decade, of the century for Image Comics. It ain't even out yet. You feel me? So make sure to dive into that amazing title. I've had the privilege of reading this book, and believe me, you're in for some surprises. It has an incredible first appearance in there of a character we've known get transformed, if you will. Big T's there. So make sure to check out Spawn Universe #1, and of course, make sure to check out ComicCrusaders.com, UndercoverCapes.com, and please visit the Google Play Store for the Comic Crusaders app. All right, to have everything Comic Crusaders all in one place. Thank you for everybody that tuned in, and shout out to Klep, to my baby brother Daniel, to Steeler Music, to Bernard Monte, to DSRE Fan right there, Story Strauss, to Meredith as well, and everybody else that tuned in tonight. Thank you for hanging out with me and the Todd Father himself. And with that, make sure to check us out every place that I've mentioned. Thank you for tuning in. Much love. Wepa, para que tú sepa. Hasta la próxima.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.comiccrusaders.com. Also follow along with all of the websites of the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.